Hello and welcome back to Royal Reviewer. I have missed you guys so much, and I am officially back talking about my favourite topic, which of course is the royal family. Now, this is a little bit different. I normally do live stream chats. However, I decided to do a series of catch-up videos that are pre-recorded. I've made some notes like I used to do in the old days, and I'm going to work my way through them, and I'm going to cover different royals on each different video, on separate videos, so that we can have a really good catch up, because I am aware that it has been a moment, it has been a while since I've been on talking about the royal family. So without further ado, today is Thursday the 18th of August 2022, and this chat is going to be primarily about Queen Elizabeth, our monarch, the Platinum Jubilee Queen. So we have a lot to catch up on. And I've written down different topics of things that I want to talk about. And I think the first thing that we need to get into is Queen Elizabeth's health, because since in my absence, I have still been obviously looking at all the news. I have still been reading comments and people's questions, what people are wanting to know about on Twitter. And by the way, Twitter is such a toxic place right now. We'll get into that in a few more episodes' time. But anyway, Twitter is so toxic, but I do use it to have a look and, feel what people are talking about. And a lot of questions are coming up about Queen Elizabeth's health, and more to the point, her seemingly declining health, and kind of what that means for the British royal family, for the country, for the nation, and, to a certain extent, the world and the Commonwealth as well. So Queen Elizabeth's health has been on the decline. I mean, I don't think anyone can take away from the fact that she is 96 years old. She has celebrated 70 years of immense public service. We're not talking about just a few years of public service here. We are talking about more than some people's entire lifetime of duty and service. She is 96 years old, and although her mind is still absolutely perfect, as far as we are aware, there are no mental issues. When I say mental issues, I'm talking things of a dementia type nature. There are no signs of this absolutely whatsoever. The Queen still receives her red boxes, which are part of the official duties of the monarch. So she's reading everything, she's signing things off. She is still as astute. She's meeting with her Prime Minister, whoever that may be, and we are going to have a change of Prime Minister soon, so she will get in another new Prime Minister. And that, of course, that's not her choice. She has the Prime Minister that the general public elect. So upstairs in her mind, as far as we're aware, everything is fine. But where things are showing signs of decline is body. She does have the body of a 96-year-old, and it's remarkable how even up to now, I mean, really, these mobility issues, and they have been described by the palace as episodic mobility issues, which basically means her health some days is really good, and some days it's not so good. So depending on what the day, how she's feeling, she may attend events, she may not. I think sometimes they plan for events, but like I said, on the day she either turns up or doesn't. She has been accompanied by other royals on events that she has been to, and I have written down that she did attend the opening, of course, of the Elizabeth line on the 17th of May. She's seen now using a walking stick. We haven't seen her publicly in a wheelchair, and I think I've touched on this on a previous live chat actually, where I think most people and most royal commentators and biographers and people into royal history have kind of come to almost a general consensus, although, we need to be careful, we don't know exactly the reason for this. But Princess Margaret was kind of last photographed or, seen in public in a wheelchair, and it is said by some people that may be well in the know that Queen Elizabeth doesn't really want to be seen in that way, because seeing Princess Margaret looking so ill and frail as she did in that previous picture, I think it was at the what was known as the birthday gates at Clarence House for the Queen Mother's 100th birthday, I do believe it was. And she looked frail. She didn't look very well at all. I don't think the Queen wants that to be almost her last image, if you like. And of course, we know by today's standards, being in a wheelchair, having a disability, using a walking stick, using crutches, any sort of, visible disability really is not an issue. People do not mind because, things have been normalised, even missing limbs, all sorts of things because of events like the Invictus Games, because of events like the Olympic Games. Disabilities are normal, they happen. But like I say, I think the Queen has a long-standing issue with the memory of Princess Margaret, and she doesn't want to kind of recreate that image, I suppose, for herself, which is her personal choice. And, who are we to question a personal choice? You do you, basically. But the Queen's health has been a concern for many royal watchers. I just think she's amazing to have got as far as she has at 96, being as mobile as she has. In fact, there was even reports a couple of months ago that she was back on a horse. I don't know how true that was. There are no pictures like there used to be pictures of her in the grounds of Windsor. So we haven't seen any pictures of her on horseback. So there's no proof as far as I'm aware anyway, but that reports have come out that she has been back in the saddle. I mean, again, I imagine it's on her good days when her mobility is really, really, really good. Like I say, we've kind of got used to seeing her with a stick. She has lost a lot of weight. That has been another thing that I think people have been commenting on, is the physical stature of the Queen. Now, she's always been tiny, she hasn't been very tall with regards height, but in later years she did become a little bit larger in body size and shape, as you do when you get older, because of course when she was a young queen she had a very tiny waist. All you've got to do is look at the coronation dress and her wedding dress, and she had such a tiny, and also those magnificent ball gowns that were designed for her and worn of course by the great Norman Hartnell. Such a tiny little waist. Some of you may have seen them on display on the occasion at the palace or other exhibitions. So in later years she did gain some weight and she looked quite bonny, quite jolly. But in recent years she has lost a lot of weight, which has been visible in the face, in stature, and basically her clothes have had to be altered. And she is re-wearing outfits. So what one can assume is that Angela Kelly and the team of dressmakers at Buckingham Palace, the in-house stylists and dressmakers, have been altering and tailoring the existing clothes, as well as making new ones as well, because they do create some amazing designs that come out of the palace under Angela Kelly. So the clothes have been doctored, and we saw some amazing outfits that the Queen did wear for the Jubilee celebrations. Now I have got written down in a separate section the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. So with regards to health, she mainly kind of stuck to the balcony appearances because of course she can't stand for long periods of time when she's undergoing these bad bouts of episodic health. She missed the national service of Thanksgiving, which of course other royals did attend. Again, I imagine access to the actual event was going to be quite restrictive. Then there was the uncomfortable seating that typically is in of church buildings of that kind of nature, possibly the standing, possibly the walking, especially if she is having one of those episodic mobility issues. Then of course we have the Jubilee Concert, which she pre-recorded an amazing sketch. It was so funny, of Paddington Bear, where Paddington Bear came to tea with the Queen and he sat down with her, and of course he took out from under his hat a jam sandwich, and of course the Queen took out her handbag, and of course what's in the Queen's handbag? She had one too. So of course that made everyone laugh, and it was almost like the star of the whole concert, really. Another question that's been coming up a lot within the royal community is, will there be a regency? And if you don't know what a regency is, it is when the heir to the throne is effectively made monarch whilst the existing monarch is still alive, and the existing monarch doesn't perform any duties, effectively retires from being monarch, but is still monarch. And then, like I said, the regent, we have previously had a prince regent, kind of takes control, if you like, and performs all those duties on the monarch's behalf, but is not an actual monarch in their own right until the true monarch actually passes away. So there has been talk of a regency. People have been questioning whether one will come about, and of course that hasn't happened. And I've been saying, if you've watched my channel way back when we first started, people were still talking about a regency, even when the Queen was in really robust health. So things haven't changed. People are still talking about it and questioning it, and my stance remains exactly the same as it was back then. There is a Regency Act, there is a Regency Council, this is all written into law, and there are only 3 reasons as to why a regency could actually be appointed or evoked, if you like. And that is, the first reason is that the Queen is absent. Now, back in the day when monarchs used to go on really long sustained tours, like 6 months, or they used to go to war, in battle, they would be absent, not permanently, but they potentially would have a regent appointed in their absence. Well, the Queen is not absent. She doesn't do long haul travel anymore, and she remains in the UK. So that is not a reason that can be used. The next reason is that your body is incapacitated, or the monarch is incapacitated. The Queen, although not experiencing good health at the moment, she is not incapacitated to the point where she cannot perform the actual duties and functions of state. Now, again, there has been a lot of talk. I've seen comments about, perhaps the Queen should abdicate because she's not attending charity events as much, and she's not doing this and she's not doing that. Those things are just like the sprinkles on a cake, if you like, on a cupcake. Think of a cupcake. You've got the main kind of sponge of the cake, and then you've got the icing, and you've got the sprinkles. The charity work, all that kind of stuff, are the sprinkles. They're not actually necessary. They are not actually written into the Queen's job description, if you like. Now, there isn't a job description, but there is kind of, but not in the sense that we would know anyway. So those things, if she doesn't perform them, it doesn't really matter. The real functions of state are that she receives the red boxes, she signs off on laws, she opens the state opening of Parliament. We'll get to that in a moment, because I can hear you screaming that she didn't attend the previous one, but we'll get to that in a moment. So she is performing all of the duties. So her episodic mobility issues are not causing her to be incapacitated enough that a regency could be evoked. Now, the third and final one is the mind, and we've touched on this already. A monarch has to be classed as being of sound mind. In other words, if the Queen had dementia or anything of that nature, then a regency could be evoked. But at the moment, she is not showing any signs of this. So all of those 3 criteria are not there, and unless they actually change the law to include just general old age, of which I think they would have to set a benchmark, and there is no forthcoming plans to do this, then a regency is not on the cards. Of course, Prince Charles, the heir to the throne, the Prince of Wales, has been stepping up, has been performing more duties. His wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, who is still technically the Princess of Wales, has also been stepping up with her husband, and they have been taking on much more overseas long-haul travel. Of course, that has been delayed due to the pandemic, but they have been taking on a lot more duties. Now, let's go to the state opening of Parliament. I did touch on that as being one of the kind of primary duties of the monarch, is to open and close Parliament as well. And the Queen was not able to attend because of ill health, but she can still technically open it without attending it, if that makes sense. So she sent her representatives, which of course on this occasion, the previous occasion, were Prince Charles and Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, who again will be a future monarch. It worked well. The ceremony went without a hitch. But the Queen was still able to open it formally behind the scenes. It was just the ceremony that was attended. And I liken this to, for example, Queen Victoria. Now, Queen Victoria notoriously kind of withdrew in later years from public life. And she didn't attend all of these functions and charity events and all kinds of things. But yet the role of the monarch still continued and carried on. Even with her being so withdrawn from public life. And the Queen is not really withdrawing herself from public life. She's only, in a way, having to step back when she has to. When she's being forced to, basically. So if Queen Victoria can purposefully withdraw herself for all those years and still be monarch, then the Queen can do what she's doing. That is perfectly fine. So no, I don't think there are any plans for abdication. I don't think there are any plans for a regency. I think the Queen, when she takes her final breath, will still be the ruling monarch of the United Kingdom. So I hope that's put that to bed. Now, the next point I've got on my list are family, friends, and staff. So of course, since Duke of Edinburgh passed away, people have been concerned about the Queen's well-being in terms of people around her. Now, we do know that there are certain family members that live close, and there are certain family members that are going to become living closer. So the Wessexes live at Bagshot Park, which is not terribly far away at all, and they do visit the Queen regularly. The Queen has an amazing relationship with the Earl and Countess of Wessex and children. And didn't Lady Louise look amazing at the Platinum Jubilee? Then the Yorks. Now, regardless of whatever you think about the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, and of course Sarah Ferguson, Sarah, Duchess of York, who is not the Duchess of York, she is Sarah, Duchess of York. They live at Royal Lodge, which again is on the Windsor estate, so not terribly far away. And apparently Prince Andrew has been visiting the Queen a lot, of course, in his downtime. And the Queen is set to have some more family members moving in very soon, because William and Catherine have taken on Adelaide Cottage. Now, Adelaide Cottage is very, very, very close to Windsor Castle. In fact, I may pop some images on the screen. It's so close. And it's still a big property, and it has been renovated in recent years, so it's not going to be an extra burden on the taxpayer with William and Catherine moving to it. It will, of course, be their third home. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about Adelaide Cottage here, because when I get to the video on William and Catherine, I'll talk about it. But the Queen is going to have greater access to Prince William, Catherine, and the grandchildren when they move closer, when they move to Adelaide Cottage. So keep looking for a upcoming video where we'll be talking about the ins and outs of Adelaide Cottage. Friends. Now, of course, when you get to 96, your friends, your contemporaries, most of them are sadly not here. And the Queen in recent years has had to say goodbye to several, well, quite a few of her really close, what you would call friends. So basically, those that are left are kind of more like staff and acquaintances. Of course, she's really into her horses, we all know that. And, you know, anyone that's in the, and she owns obviously a stud farm, she breeds horses, races them. So anyone in her network of horses will be in her friendship group. And of course, she still takes great solace in her horses, even if she can't get on a horse and ride when she's in these down moments. She still likes to visit and keep up on what's going on. So people in that kind of horsey community, will be classed as acquaintances and friends. Now, staff, of course, will be very close as well, almost led by Angela Kelly, of course, the Queen's dressmaker, who is very, very, very close to the Queen. She has an amazing relationship with the monarch. And of course, this kind of bubble that pretty much, is still there around the Queen, although relaxed a little as things have moved on. So she does have people around her, friends, family, staff, which I think is very important to note. Okay, something else that's happened since I've not been doing Royal Reviewer is on the 13th of June, the Queen broke another record. She is now the second longest monarch in history, which takes us to 70 years, 127 days, and she's only behind King Bhumibol of Thailand. I hope I said that correctly. I don't think I probably have. So that's it. I mean, that's all that I'm going to talk about, I think, today about the Queen. If I have missed anything, any burning, pressing questions that you want to know, please leave a comment, and I will try and answer it in an upcoming video. The only other thing I should mention is that there was no official happy birthday on the 4th of August, which is also, well, was my birthday as well, the 4th of August, to the Duchess of Sussex. William and Catherine, of course, did post a happy birthday message. The Queen in previous years would have posted a happy birthday to the Duchess of Sussex, but there was no happy birthday this year. Thank you for watching. I will be back in other videos where I'll be talking about what the other members of the royal family have been up to. So please stay tuned and please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I am fully back. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.